With all the adrenaline still in overdrive from the announcement straight out of Star Wars Celebration in London, the next live-action project we will be receiving is the Ahsoka Tano series. While Ahsoka is one of the coolest characters to come out of the creative mind of Dave Filoni while he was under the tutelage of George Lucas himself, Ahsoka isn't without her controversies. Yes, if you didn't know, and I don't know how you could not know, Ahsoka Tano was created while George Lucas still owned Star Wars and Lucasfilm. Ahsoka Tano started off as this annoying little smart mouth that most fans wished would go away, not just because she was a typical teenager, but because there was this whole thing that Anakin had a Padawan. Okay, backtracking a bit. You have to understand the audience. When the prequels were released, we elderly folk were taking our own children off to experience Star Wars for the first time.
But I'm not old.
We had grown up with Star Wars in the mid-70s, through the 80s, and all through the 90s. We grew up with a Darth Vader who was evil, and an Anakin Skywalker who was the gifted Padawan to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And even though we were older by the time of the Star Wars prequels, there was no mention of Anakin having a Padawan of his own. Then there were the prequels, and still no mention of a Padawan. So from 1977 through 2005, Anakin didn't have a Jedi Padawan. So when the Clone Wars movie hit the theaters in 2008, we elderly folk,
But I'm not old.
well, we were confused as to how Anakin had a Padawan and there being no mention of Ahsoka Tano before this point. How was this going to work? Did they break canon? Is George Lucas killing Star Wars? Yep, these are the things we heard back then. Wow, you mean Star Wars hate has been going back that far? Nope, farther. It began in 1980 with The Empire Strikes Back, but I'm not here to talk about that. Nuh-uh. I'm here to talk about Ahsoka Tano and how she has been controversial. Not just in the Star Wars fandom, but within the actual story of Star Wars and how her story pertains to the Jedi. When Ahsoka first appeared, as I said, fans were less than thrilled. Okay, the elderly fans.
But I'm not old.
If you were a child just getting into Star Wars at that time, you likely didn't care. Not only was Ahsoka annoying, but she seemed to break Star Wars canon. But over the next seasons of the Clone Wars, Ahsoka Tano became a fan favorite. Not just for the newer fandom, but for us elderly folk. Haha, I didn't put the clip in. Tricked you.
But I'm not old.
Ah, damn it. Other than Maul, formerly Darth Maul, and Captain Rex, there was so much character growth and development that went into this snippy teen. Ahsoka became beloved. But not all that begins well ends well. Before I get deeper into the character of Ahsoka Tano, a quick word from our sponsor, me. Hit the subscribe button, give the video a big stupid thumbs up. I'm on a voyage to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of that journey. I know every freaking YouTube channel asks for your subscription, and that's their right, but mine is special. Why? Because it's freaking Star Wars, baby, and I absolutely promise to deliver on my word. With me, you'll get the best Star Wars content YouTube has to offer, and I'll deliver it in a way that's fun and engaging, and it's all original content. No rehashes of what other channels talk about. If you're looking for someone to bore you to sleep, I'm not that guy. But if you want to have fun and party like an Ewok with a full belly of Stormtrooper meat, welcome home. Okay, let's get back to Ahsoka Tano, shall we? Poor little Ahsoka went through a bit of drama. She loved being a Jedi. She loved her master. Love. Tricky word when describing a Jedi. Let's say she cared about them. As she cared for all life, she was dutiful and out to prove herself as being worthy of the Jedi title. To herself, her master, the Jedi Council, and the galaxy at large. Don't agree? Anakin was going to send her packing, but she proved herself in the Battle of Christophsis. So he didn't. There. She actually had a lot of characteristics of Anakin himself. She was bold, unafraid to take risks, and stood up for what she believed in, where Obi-Wan Kenobi had a good heart and vision, but he was more of a company man. But there was a bit of inside drama, where the Council didn't trust Anakin Skywalker. In turn, they didn't trust his Jedi Padawan, Ahsoka. I'm sorry, but is it just me, or is Mace Windu angry all the time? Dude needs to find his happy place. Maybe the stress of having the Chosen One around and a Clone War is a bit too much for him. I mean, Yoda doesn't yell talk. He's kind of a nice little guy that I could see having a beer with, and he wouldn't be an angry nor crying drunk. I'd carry his little drunk ass home from a party. Oh, yeah. Anyways, that would all change when Ahsoka is accused of murder, treason, and conspiracy. With it being the lives of Republic troops and citizens ended, Ahsoka was thrown to the wolves of the government, and the Jedi Order just said, okay. They didn't step in to save her, didn't try to come up with evidence on her behalf. Nope. They attended her trial and watched on like it was an NSYNC concert. Ahsoka was to be executed for the crimes. Only one person stepped in to save her. Okay, you know how this ends. I've talked about it extensively. The true culprit was Barriss Offee, Ahsoka's friend. The whole time the trial was going on, the Jedi Council allowed the proceedings to continue. Why? Because they didn't trust her. To them, she was no Jedi. But once it was over and she was acquitted, they backpedaled. Oh, my bad. Want to come back? You can be a Jedi Knight. But she wasn't having it. If they couldn't trust her, how could she trust herself? Not realizing it was Anakin they didn't trust, and she just happened to be associated with him, and was guilty by default because of that. Nonetheless, Ahsoka left the Jedi Order, pursuing her own lifelong goal of being a sweaty mechanic. During Ahsoka's self-imposed exile from the Jedi Order, she actually displayed a better understanding of what it meant to be a true Jedi. With helping the Martez sisters and going on board with Bo-Katan Kryze in ridding Mandalore of Maul, formerly Darth Maul. This poor guy gets beat up more than Mike Tyson's sparring partner. Oh well. Although Ahsoka doesn't belong to the Jedi Order, she holds the values of the origins of the Jedi teachings dear to her, a guardian of peace and justice, holding all things within the Force sacred, using her gifts to help those in need. So let's look at that word, Jedi. Ahsoka does not hesitate to tell people she is no Jedi. Not for a while, at least. She says it to Maul, then she says it again to Darth Vader. But is she talking about not being a Jedi in rank bestowed upon her from the Jedi Council? Or is she talking about her belief system? Let's put it in real-world terms. Can you be a Christian and not be Catholic? Yes, there are many different forms and sects of Christianity. Judaism, Buddhism, Islam, and worshiping a head of lettuce named Ralph. Yes, those are not all Christianity, but you get my meaning. There's different sects of all those. So maybe Jedi has a double meaning in the case of Ahsoka Tano, and really any other light side Force user. What is the first thing an average Star Wars citizen thinks of when they see someone using the Force and carrying a lightsaber?
You're a Jedi Knight, aren't you?
You said it, Anakin. Yep, they associate them with the Jedi. It doesn't necessarily mean they believe them to be of the Jedi Order. If you hear someone praise Jesus and smack you in the face with some scripture, you assume they are Christian. Rightfully so, but you don't assume they are Catholic. To an average galactic citizen, anyone with the Force and carrying a lightsaber and doing good deeds is a Jedi. But they don't really understand the inner workings of the Jedi Order. Most may not even know what it takes to be a Jedi of the Jedi Order. It's a pretty exclusive club, like the Masons or Shriners. So when Ahsoka says she is no Jedi, that may mean that she is not of the Jedi Order. She doesn't follow their specific teachings that they have come up with, such as vengeance. Vengeance is seen as a path to the dark side and is outside the law of the Jedi Order. But Ahsoka tells Darth Vader she will avenge Anakin Skywalker's death. Does it lead her to the dark side? No. She remains true to herself. Instead, she's practicing Jedi of the light side of the Force. For a long time, she may have associated the word with the Jedi Order, as that's all she knew of the light side, what the Order taught her, and how they expected her to fall in line with their own strict dogma. In the years following Ahsoka's departure from the Jedi Order, it's clear that she still practices the original teachings of the Jedi Foundations. With the Jedi Order gone and all the council members becoming one with the Force, Ahsoka Tano has a new outlook on being a Jedi. The time is right to train the next generation to be something different, teaching the newest of the Force users that being a Jedi doesn't mean joining a cult, that being a Jedi means the Force surrounds them, combines them, penetrates them, that it's everywhere, and it doesn't only exist in the walls of some pragmatic cult. And hopefully she teaches these things to Luke Skywalker. If she did, he may not have listened until it was too late, because his Jedi Order was destroyed from within, the same as the Jedi Order of old. But when Luke says it's time for the Jedi to end, he is referring to the Jedi Order, because he sees that power corrupts and blinds. And by saying it's time for the Jedi to end, Ahsoka Tano's already gone by this point. It's easy to see why Ahsoka Tano has become a favorite in the Star Wars community. She's the embodiment of the light side. The essence of the Sister of Mortis is housed within her, bringing balance to the Force, along with others like Luke Skywalker. And that dogma and ceremony don't make a Jedi. How they use their gift does. That's about all I have to say about that. I know I made another Ahsoka video recently, and I'm sure I will make more because I like to do that. I guess this was just another way of explaining what I was trying to say before. So leave a comment if you feel like this is a good explanation or if I'm completely off my rocker. I try to read all the comments and respond to as many as I can. Before I go, yeah, I know, you'll be sad. Okay, not really. Here's a quick word from our sponsor. Me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a like. I'm really trying to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of the next phase of this channel. The YouTube algorithm is harder than getting the Mos Eisley Cantina to serve their kind. But together we can conquer this YouTube algorithm and end droid discrimination. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. Until the next video, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way, and positivity in the Star Wars community should be the only way.